Her husband, film director Roman Polanski, was out of the country, and she was hosting 3 house guests: Hollywood hairdresser Jay Sebring, coffee heiress Abigail Folger, and her Polish boyfriend, Wojtek Frykowski. Manson told Tex to kill everybody there, and Pat says her instructions were just as clear.
He told me to do whatever Tex said. And I understand, and I believe Tex when he said Charlie told him to do it.
While Linda Kasabian waited, Tex Watson led Susan Atkins and Patricia Krenwinkel onto the estate. Leaping over the wall, Tex surprised 18-year-old Stephen Parent, a friend of the groundsman, who was just about to leave. Before he could go, Tex reached into his car and shot him 4 times, point blank. Inside, Tex and the Manson women herded everybody into the living room. Jay Sebring was the next to die. He was shot and stabbed by Tex as he went to protect actress Sharon Tate. Frykowski was stabbed, bludgeoned and shot dead by Tex as he tried to escape. Abigail Folger also tried to flee, in vain.
At that point in time, I left and followed her. I ran after her with an upraised knife, and we went out through a back door out onto the lawn. And I started stabbing her. I ran her down, and I began to stab her. I remember her saying, "I'm already dead."
Inside, Susan Atkins guarded a terrified Sharon Tate, who was bound around the neck and strung from the beams. Atkins later told the story to Virginia Graham, a cellmate in jail.
She said Sharon was crying and begging, "Please don't kill me, please don't kill me. I just want to have my baby. God, please don't kill me." And she says, and I looked her dead in the eye and I said to her, "Bitch, I don't care about you or your baby, and you're going to die." And she says, and I killed her.
By the time they were finished, it was well after midnight, and 5 people had been killed. They had been stabbed more than 100 times.
Why do you think he chose you for that night?
Because he knew I wouldn't question him.
He's got about 25 people to choose from, right? He knew them better than you and I. Why did he choose these particular ones to go along with him? Well, my guess is he felt they were the ones that were most capable of committing these murders for him.
The next night, Manson rounded up the same group, as well as Leslie Van Houten, who was eager to prove her loyalty.
He asked me, do you believe enough in what I say to know that this is something that has to be done, or something to that effect? And I said, yes, I do.
This time, Manson drove the group to Los Angeles. The house he chose belonged to supermarket owner Lino LaBianca and his wife, Rosemary. Manson walked in first.
Seen a guy sitting on the couch. When he was sitting on the couch, I pet the dog. I said, "Hey, look like Sophia Loren there." And I laughed at it. He said, "Hi." I said, "Hi."
Manson bound and gagged them both, then left.
I told the other dudes, "I'll see you later, man. You know, like I'll catch it on the run, man. I'm gone, man." And I split, man.
Although Manson denied giving the command to kill, Tex and the women say he's lying. While Tex stabbed Lino LaBianca to death in the living room, Pat and Leslie guarded his wife in the bedroom.
I did have a knife, and I did attempt to stab her. Basically, we gave up very quickly at that, and we went and got Tex.
And then Tex turned me around and handed me the knife, and he said, do something. Because Manson had told him to make sure that all of us got our hands dirty. And I stabbed Mrs. LaBianca in the lower back about 16 times.
I went, and Mr. LaBianca was already dead, and I had gotten a fork, and I stabbed him with a fork repeatedly and eventually left the fork in him. And then I wrote words all over the house in blood.
The words were helter skelter, rise, and death to pigs. Words Manson had taken from the Beatles' White Album to describe his bloody vision of the apocalypse. Now 8 people were dead, and 3 of Manson's all-American girls, Pat, Leslie and Susan, were murderers. Strangely, one family member was notably absent from both nights of murder. Charlie's right hand, Lynette Squeaky Froome.
Some people say it's because Charlie knew that she really wasn't capable of this kind of violent mayhem, and she didn't have what it took to plunge a knife into somebody.
It's a very difficult thing to imagine doing. But I still believe that they were right because they felt right. They felt that despite the ugliness of it, it was the right thing to do.
One thing was clear. The mastermind behind the murders had made sure that Tex and the women all bloodied their hands, while he kept his own hands clean.
I did stay clear of everything.
But they say you didn't, because they were acting for you on your instructions.
No.
And under your influence.
Well, maybe influenced, and they might have thought it was my instructions, but I wasn't directing traffic, lady.
Back at Spahn Ranch, the Manson tribe waited for the Black Uprising, helter-skelter, to come down. Instead, it was the law that came down on the family. On August the 16th, just a week after the Tate murders, the Los Angeles County Sheriff raided the family's compound. But the authorities were looking for stolen dune buggies, not murderers. And they released the Manson family just 48 hours later, leaving them free to commit yet one more murder. This time it happened right at home, on Spahn Ranch. The sounds woke 17-year-old Barbara Hoyt from her sleep.
I heard the screams, and as he screamed and screamed and screamed and screamed, it went on forever. It was horrible, gut-wrenching screams. I've never heard like that before in my life.
Barbara recognized the screams. They were those of a ranch hand named Shorty Shea. Terrified of losing her own life, Barbara decided to escape from the Manson family. The identities of the Tate LaBianca killers were still unknown to the world. All that would soon change.